Sing it like you mean it. Sit on the front porch swinging and only.
Hey everybody, this is Roy Doyle with www.arkansasshowcaseradio.org show, and we're going to be bringing you some of the past interviews we've done with some of the best music artists out of the state of Arkansas. And today is Blues Day, so we're going to bring you Miss Shannon Boshears, who we believe is the best blues artist in the state of Arkansas. If you get a chance to watch her, you better take advantage of it because she is a talent you don't want to miss. So Miss Shannon Boshears is going to bring you her story next. So Shannon Boshears, blues artist, state of Arkansas. Stay tuned.
I'm Shannon Boshears from Little Rock, Arkansas.
And you got to go more than that, Shannon.
What do you want? Okay, well, what do you want?
Your start, Shannon. How did you get started in the business of becoming one of the best blues artists in the state?
Okay. I'm Shannon Boshears from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I've been playing music for quite a long time, many years. And I did it for a living for a long time. Played 5, 6, 7 nights a week, sometimes 2 times a night. And now I kind of play maybe 3, 4 times a month. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more.
How old were you when you started?
Well, I bought a guitar when I was 17. Started learning how to play when I was going to college to keep my hands and my mind busy. And just started, first thing I ever did was I bought a Crosby, Stills & Nash Made Easy for guitar. And I taught myself how to play, sitting in my dorm room up in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I was really familiar with their music, so they had some simple songs, and I sat down and I saw where the fingers went on the strings, and I just learned how to play a few of those songs, and then I just started hanging out with people that played music, and I kind of picked it up from there. But
why did you want to start? I mean, was it for riches, fame, fortune?
Well, a lot of people, music was always a huge part of my life, and so I just was very drawn to it, but I really just wanted to play, let me see if I can start that over again. Why did I do this?
Where am I?
Well, what have I done with my life? I have no idea. I was always a huge music fan, and just was always drawn to the guitar. I had tried to pick it up early in life, and it didn't take. But honest to God, I was kind of a wild child when I grew up, and a lot of people start playing music and start drinking and getting wild, and I kind of did it backwards. I kind of gave up drinking and bought a guitar to keep my mind busy and my hands busy. And I was young, I was 17, but I started early. And it kind of kept me sane. Music, of course, everybody always thinks, you're going to make it, you're going to be big and famous and stuff. You always have that in the back of your mind. I mean, even today,
What was your first show at? Where was it?
My very first public show that I did was in the it was in a party room at the La Quinta Inn.
That's big.
Yeah, and I played with this guy. I played acoustic, and he played electric, and we played 3 or 4 cover songs, and we ended with Freebird. Yeah, right. I mean, I'll do that song for $100 now, but hey, that was cool. It was a kind of a folksy setting, but we were the headliners. There were, don't know why, but there were a couple other people under us, and but yeah, we ended with Freebird, and that was awesome. We were cool, and that was one of the highlights of my life.
So how did you even get that gig? Did you go out and book that, or?
Honestly, I don't remember, but we got paid $50 a piece. That was the first time I was ever paid to play. So I pretty much had made it at that point. I felt like, and yeah. I was there. I remember the flyer, and I probably still, honest to God, probably still have that flyer.
And who were you then? Were you just Shannon Boshears, or were you a band at that
I was I was Shannon and Bob.
The creativity
I know, right?
is just off the charts.
You didn't have any puppets or anything, did you?
I could have worked in a puppet show. No, the guy that I played with, his name was Bob. And so, yeah, we went with Shannon and Bob. And, I've always gone by my own name, Shannon Boshears Band. I don't think I've ever really played in a band that went by
How many bands
some
have you
other
played
name.
with?
Just me. You know, I mean,
Around you, how many different bands have you had around you besides the current one that you have right now?
well, what do you mean around me?
How many people have you fired from your
Yeah, that's what I mean.
started with Bob, and then Bob got the
Bob got
axe.
the axe.
Bob, yeah, well, so there was a Juanita's one night, and Juanita's used to be the big club here. They had a blues, it was a contest of some sort, and I knew 3 blues songs at the time. And Bob and I were slotted to play. We got invited to come play, and man, I mean, I had bought an outfit and everything for this thing, and at the last minute, Bob backed out. And, I remember I cried, I thought this is the end. And so I went up there, and I did it by myself. And there I was, standing on this stage with acoustic guitar, and there were probably 200 people in the room. And these were blues lovers. I mean, this was like the Arkansas Blues Society blues contest. And I got up there and I did 2 songs and got off stage as quick as I could. I was scared to death. But, I had a lot of people come up to me after that, and they just thought it was as cool as it could be, I mean, I was about 21 years old, and I was singing like this Janis Joplin, Turtle Blues, and I think an Allman Brothers song.
So were you
I
a
did.
success that night?
To me, oh yeah. I mean, that was cool. As a matter of fact, I had gone to lunch that day with somebody, and I told him at the restaurant I was playing Juanita's that night, and I told him that I would mention the restaurant's name at the gig if they gave me lunch for free, and they did. And it was like, it was like a really swank steakhouse type place, What was that place at the bottom of Cantrell?
Oh my God, not sirloins in, steak and ales?
It was the steak and ale. It was the steak and ale. I mean, right? So anyway, yeah. So I thanked Steak and Ale from the stage that night at Juanita's, and got a free lunch.
Man, once you got
So, I mean,
the anchor off of your neck.
Yeah, right. I mean, so those were the perks of rock and roll for me
So
in the beginning.
then, how did you start getting the other bookings? I mean, was it word of mouth, or did you, just start
Because you was
sending
doing
out
this as a
flyers?
living at this point, right?
No, not yet. I mean, I was still in college, working a part-time job, and
What'd you do?
I worked for a little public relations firm, and actually traveled all around the southern United States promoting the original Tough Man contest. So I'd get in my car with my guitar, and I would travel around Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas and Missouri, and wrote some songs while I was doing that.
About guys getting beaten up?
Well, no, I didn't, but anyway.
That's the blues.
Yeah, that was the blues. But I just, I remember just putting together little demo tapes and trying to get gigs, sending them out to clubs, and people started, hiring me. I started getting some regular gigs and playing solo, and then I'd hook up. I met Walter Kay at one point. I'd played with some other people before that, but I met Walter. And I had a private party, and my regular guitar player had to be out of town, so I hired Walter, and that was it. I went and fired the other guys in the band, and Walter and I stayed together.
They're back with Bob.
Yeah, right. They're with Bob somewhere, and so that was about 1989, and Walter and I have been playing together ever since.
So an early gig like that, what would they pay you? Would they pay in beer?
The same amount of money I'm making today. I'm making the same amount of money that I made, 1989, pretty much. Actually, I may have made more at some point, but
we got to work on a manager.
I know, right? So, $50 a head. Hopefully, you get free food. Not necessarily. It's actually, since I never have drank alcohol and played. Like I said, I quit drinking and got a guitar. And so, we go to a bar to play all night, and Walter will drink for free all night long, but I'll have to pay for food. So, those were great. Those were great days.
So, you have a band now. So when you are in a band, who is the final decision maker? If somebody...
The singer. That'd be me.
So if someone called you from LA and wanted you to come out there and play, do y'all have to look at the expenses of doing something like that? Or do you say anything within 100 miles we're going? Or, how does that work?
Well, pretty much it's hard nowadays to get Walter out of town, unfortunately. We've been doing this a long time. He's getting up there, and he doesn't much necessarily like to leave town. But, if someone called from LA, I'd ask the band if they wanted to go, and some of them probably would. And if some of them couldn't go, I'd probably hire someone to, fill in. It would depend on what the gig was, but,
As far as record deals, have you had any offers or made any connections that way?
Well, when we were playing, I would have given anything to have had the internet and all those, technological things that we have today getting started in order to promote my music. And, back then we were printing flyers and putting stamps on them and mailing them out, trying to get people to gigs. And so, it was hard. You couldn't just mail your tape in or, send a file of your music to a record company. But I did the Nashville thing. I went to Nashville and cut some demos and, tried to get some deals, and nothing ever really took off. I think mainly because I just never left town. Had I picked up and moved somewhere, maybe I would have, gotten further along in those avenues. But I was playing music for a living here at one point, and the money was good, and I was doing it on my terms, and I would try to go out to Austin or Nashville, and I'd find out these people were playing for tips, and I'd say, well, geez, I got to pay my light bill, so that's going to be hard for me to go do that. So, I never really got any kind of record deal or anything. I put out my own records, put out a couple of CDs. Just created my own label called Chick Singer Records, and just put it out like that.
And you made it to like a soundtrack though, haven't you?
Well, I did. So several years ago, I probably one of the more highlights of my music career. I got one of my songs on my first CD in a movie that Joey Lauren Adams directed, and she's from North Little Rock, Arkansas, and she filmed a movie here, a full-length movie here, starring Ashley Judd, and got a song in that movie, and then it ended up on a soundtrack, which was really cool. And so there I was on this soundtrack that got released with it was me and Willie Nelson and Emmylou Harris and Merle Haggard and Billy Joe Shaver. I don't know how I ended up there because I'm more of a blues artist, but that's that was cool. That was a really cool thing for me. So
you thought that was it, then you was going to start?
Well, I was hoping that would open some doors for me, and I did. I made some connections, and but again, I think it's hard to, if you're not living in one of those cities and you're not out doing it every day, and you're not in front of those people. It's hard to make it, I think, to any other level, you know.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, obviously, we're talking about Arkansas artists. Do you think growing up in Arkansas is a detriment to someone that's wanting to make it in the music industry?
Well, you know, now that's going to depend. It's really going to depend on what kind of music that you're doing, being from Arkansas. I mean, if you're a blues artist, you know, Clarksdale, Mississippi is a happening scene, and you can, you know, I know people that have moved here from Arkansas down there that are doing really well because a lot of people in Europe hire these people right out of Clarksdale. So, you know, and they're playing just little, you know, juke joints down there, but just because they're living and they're playing in there, they think that's, you know, those are the real blues artists, and so they get maybe on some labels and get picked up and tour and things like that. If you're a country artist, you know, you need to go to Nashville. And, you know, I think you have to do that in order to get out and get picked up and meet the right people, and, you know, get on some kind of tours, get a booking agent. And, you know, nowadays you don't have to necessarily have that record label to make it. There's so many people that are just doing their own thing, making their names known. And
do you use iTunes or CD Baby or any of that you make tons of money from that, obviously, right?
Tons of money. Well, you know, I both of my records are on iTunes, CD Baby, and I actually one day came home and I had a check from BMI in the mail. And I opened the check and I was like, oh my God, it's a royalty check. It was my first royalty check I'd ever had. I opened it up and it was for like 67 cents. And oh my God, I was so excited.
And said, what about that, Bob?
That's right. That's right. I mean, where are you now? Where are you now, Bob? But you know, it showed that one of my songs on my first CD had been played. It shows you where it's played, and it played over in Taiwan. I have no idea what had picked it up and what it was playing on.
You're pretty big over there.
I could probably do a tour over there, you know. I mean, you know. So, so what was the question?
I mean, no, that's good. So you think if you're in Arkansas that you still, if you're doing country or blues, you got a shot, but what you think country, probably move to Nashville would be a better shot?
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing country, you should go to Nashville, right? You know, rock and roll, you know, Hollywood, New York, and my deal was never really country, and never really straight up blues. I kind of fell in between somewhere.
What about touring? I mean, so you got a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid asking you how to get started. Do you think they should save up money and hit the tour circuit or YouTube, or you know, what's their first step?
Well, I mean, I think it is important to get out and play and get your chops up and have that experience of playing. But I think that if you don't have some kind of recording of some kind or something to sell, that you know, you're kind of just running in circles, really. I mean, it's good to get out and do those things, but you got to have something that people will buy and take home, and you know, that's easy nowadays. You don't have to press a CD. People can just download it on the internet. When I got started, you know, CDs were the thing, and you know, there were no internet sales, so you know, you got to count on just selling stuff out of your trunk. But I would definitely say write your own stuff. If you want to do something, if you want to make money and be successful, you can make a living writing forever. You know, someday you might get too old to play, you know, in country music or rock and roll. You can only probably play up to a certain age, and then, you know, you got to figure out something else to do if you hadn't made it. But what I stick to, my story is that in the blues, the older you get, the better you get. So I'm figuring that in about 20 years, I'm going to be rocking. Because I'm going to milk it, man. I am going to milk it.
Get your stride.
You know, old blues people, they always name themselves. Their nicknames are like maybe after a handicap or something, like blind Lemon Jefferson, or
What's yours going to be?
well, see, I'm diabetic, and in the African American community, they call it Sugar. She's got the sugar. So that is my blues name. It's going to be Sugar Boshears.
That sounds like a stripper.
Hey, listen.
Gotta make ends meet.
Well, no. I look forward to a long career of still playing live music somewhere or putting out records. I mean, I'm busy with life right now. I mean, with a day job, and I've always loved to work, so right now, I'm not writing a lot, but it comes in spurts and goes, the records that I put out, I've recorded myself mainly.
I've heard you've done a lot of theme songs for
Radio stations. Yeah. Well, yeah,
That's
and
big now, right?
well, it is. So I'm waiting on the awards to come in from that.
Now it looks like you've done a lot of this on your own. I mean, have you ever had like a manager or it's just you?
I am my own manager, tour manager, booking agent, everything.
Why did you go that route? Why didn't you ever like pick up somebody to help with that?
Well,
Because I'm better than anybody.
There's a lot of having control.
I mean, I just, it's hard to say. That's a tough question. I mean, how come you never got out? Because if you're trying to pitch yourself long distance and trying to meet people long distance, it's a lot harder. And so, like I said, if you're not there working it like a real job and pounding the streets every day and going door to door, and meeting those booking agents and meeting people that are running record labels, I think it's just harder. I think you got to be there in the midst of it. So, I made decisions to stay here and not ever move out of town because I never found that Nashville or Austin or LA or New York were my gig. I just didn't feel like those were places for me to go.
So if you had to do it all over again, I mean, with Bob and everything, how could you go wrong with that? But if you had to do it all over again, what changes would you make?
Well,
With hindsight.
I mean, in order to make it, or would I make any changes?
Would you make any changes? Besides firing Bob.
But besides what?
Firing Bob.
That's the best decision.
I mean, it's a loaded question to ask. Would you change anything that you've done? And I had a conversation earlier today. I'd go back and do it all over again. No doubt about it. I mean, I'm still doing it. I'm still getting to play music, which, that's the coolest thing. Would I make changes in order to get to a different level in the music industry? Yeah. I mean, you'd have to. But would I make changes so my life would have been different? No. I mean, my life is what it is today, and I love my life today, and I wouldn't change what I've got today. So, but like I said, rhythm and blues, the older you get, the better you get. So, it's okay. I mean, I'm still young. I mean, I'm not 20, but, I'm still young, and I can still, I could give up my day job anytime and get back out there. I mean, you don't have to be on American Idol or The Voice anymore to make it. So
how did you find the people in your band right now? I mean, did you just run across them out playing, or did you have auditions? Or?
Well, I was playing with a little acoustic act, and my regular guitar player couldn't make it, and he had something he had to go to out of town. So we hired Walter, sight unseen. I had never played with Walter or met him, and I hired him to come play and be lead guitar player that night, and we've been playing together ever since. That's how I met Walter. Now, Lori on bass, Lori Stidham, I had seen her playing in bands all around town. Chick bass player, she was one of those ones that was playing every weekend, VFWs, just really playing a lot. And so when we were looking for a bass player, we had her over and we sat around in the living room, and she smoked any guy that came in and auditioned for it. So she was a great backup singer too, and so we've been playing together for 15 years, and then she suggested that we play with Charlie Magum on drums, and she had done some gigs with him, so she brought him into the band, and he's been with us about that same length of time, about 15 years. So we've all been together a long time, and let me tell you, I think to have a band together for that amount of time, 25 years and 15 years, really says a lot. Like I said, I've always just gone by my own name, Shannon Boshears Band.
Sugar.
Or Sugar Boshears. I figured it wasn't trademarked. So, we've just always stuck and done that one thing. I see other bands, doing different styles of music or coming out with different names of bands and things. Same band members, different band name, different style of music. And, that's just not who I am. I just do the music that I like to do. And, it's been a long, long road, but we've been through a lot together, and, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And you're happy now?
I'm very happy now. Very content with my life. And I'll always, hopefully, knock on wood, will always be able to play and do gigs, and it's something I can't get away from. I work a lot during the day, and then I'll pull myself out at night and go play all night long, and then go back to work the next day. And it's something that's in my blood. It's what I have to do, and it's I might not be doing it as often, but I'll have to do it.
So how much do you rehearse now? If y'all have a gig on Saturday, how often do y'all get together that week before you play?
The last rehearsal that I remember that we did was probably about 10 years ago, and it was a rehearsal.
And that was with Bob.
Honestly, and that was just rehearsing some new songs that I had written in order to play Riverfest here, which is a big outdoor festival. We've always, when you're playing 5, 6, 7 nights a week, you're playing to a lot of empty rooms a lot of times. So you have a lot of time to sit on stage and just whip out new songs. And so a lot of times, that's the way we learn songs. I'll just, in those days, I'd have a scrap of paper. Nowadays you can pull it up on your iPhone and look at the lyrics. But, we want to do a new song. Lots of times I'll learn it quickly before the gig. I'll write it down and run through it a couple of times and hope that I don't completely fall apart on stage with it. And then, everybody just kind of learns it as we play. Sometimes it's terrible. Sometimes it's great. Those usually the songs that stick. They're the ones that sound good the first time out.
Now, do you write all the songs, or do you have other band members that contribute that in that period?
Well, when we play, in order to make a living here, you got to do a lot of cover songs. So we do that, but we do a lot of originals too. A lot of those I've written, most of them. I've got a couple of songs that Walter and I, share writing on, and so, but mainly they're songs that I've written.
Have you had anything just major, bad happen? Has anybody stolen your music? Have you ever had anything like that happen?
Stolen?
Like stalkers or anything like that?
Oh,
like a song that you were writing, did you hear it 2 weeks later being performed by somebody else? Oh, you have.
No, I can't think of that. I I can think of a lot of crazy things that have happened during gigs. You know, one night it was New Year's Eve, and it was down in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and we were playing. We had a full band. Had friends sitting in, and we were rocking out. And all of a sudden, this guy, who, honest to God, was over 6 feet tall, from about 30 feet back in the room, came at a full sprint at me and dove completely on top of me. Honest to God, I went flying back into the drums.
Damn it, Bob.
Listen, yeah, right. It's my old guitar player, right? Still upset. No, I have no idea who he was or why he did it, but I was into the drums all the way back on the stage. My guitar still strapped on, and then he took off and got up and ran. I have no idea. I thought I had broken my arm, but it was one of the crazier things I think that ever happened to me. It was not good, but you know.
Play that song again.
No, what song was that?
Free Bird, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy.
Cool. I think it's good. Someone wants to get started, so just tell them right now the hardest thing about making it in the industry.
What should they expect? Anytime.
To get tackled. Get tackled on stage.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you're just getting started out and you're wanting to figure out how to do it, you know, like I said, you got to write your own material. I think that's the most important part. If you're doing your own songs, you're going to be your own artist. And I think that's what, you know, unless you're, you know, going to go to Nashville and you're going to, you know, start cutting other people's songs and, you know, oh, that doesn't make sense.
That's okay, we can edit.
Yeah, no, I'm backing up. You know, I mean, I would suggest writing your own songs, doing your own thing, being your own artist, doing what feels right to you, what feels true to you. And then, you know, with the way the world is today, get out there and sell yourself, or find somebody to sell you. Find somebody.
That sounds illegal, Shannon.
That's her Sugar Boshears got.
Lord, it does, doesn't it?
That's why they love you in Thailand.
Yeah, Taiwan.
Taiwan, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Do you like to collaborate with any other artists? I mean, if there was an artist.
No. I've never been good at collaborating with other people. I don't know why. I just, you know, I've written a couple songs with other people, but I always have been envious of people that can go and write with other people. I've never been one of those to do that. You know, I have to sit there and noodle on things, or it just comes out, and I don't know. I just, you know, there's some people like that. I happen to be one that, you know, I do it better when I'm just, yeah, let me see how I phrase this, that I'm just writing by myself.
All right. Well, there you go. I think we're good.
So,
Shannon, thank you.
Outstanding. And we're going to, before we leave here today, we're going to get a picture of you on the hood of your car, Shannon.
On the hood.
On the hood.
This could be the music video.
This could get you started.
That's it.
Sugar. This could be your next album
Sugar
cover.
Boshears. Selling herself.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, I hope that's what you're looking for. No, Lord, I've had this one about 3 years.
Wow, nice.
Okay, Shannon. Up on the hood, Shannon. Come on.
Hell, I'm gonna dent it if I get up on the hood.
Wow, nice. Cute.
Work it, Shannon. Work it, baby.
Work it, girl.
Oh yeah. Woo, that's hot.
And that's from all the gigs. And look at that, Bob. You could have had that, but hell no. Now you're driving a Neon.
No. Come around here, let me show you the back plate.
Okay.
As in Mojo. That's what it's all about.
There we are.
That's right.
Sugar Boshears.
Sugar Boshears.
Mojo.
Mojo. Take a left at Lula.
got to sing it like you mean it. Sat on the front porch swinging, and only spoke when he was spoken to. I said, well, tell me